and the risks of regional escalation. Mr. Pedicini, please.
Grazie, Presidente.
Thank you, President. Today's vote has shown us quite how useless this Parliament is. There are tens of thousands of children killed in Gaza, but we can't even take a useful decision on that. When it comes to war, the right are in the majority here in this Parliament. Yesterday, we presented a discussion, a debate, and everyone said the same thing. Israel has the right to defend itself. Well, Israel is already defending itself. It's defending itself before an international court of justice against the accusation of genocide formulated by South Africa. It is South Africa being the only country that has been brave enough to do what we should have done as European citizens. I recall for you all that Israel defended itself using Ursula von der Leyen's words, legitimating Israel's disproportionate response, which has caused more than 24,000 innocent victims so far. We shouldn't be saying what Israel should do. We should say what the EU should stop doing. Stop supporting these war criminals.
Next speaker, Mrs. Daly, please.
Thanks, President. I voted against this resolution because what was initially a mealy-mouthed call for a ceasefire has been turned on its head thanks to the amendment put forward by the EPP and shamefully supported by 5 Irish MEPs. The text that was passed now calls for a ceasefire on precisely the same preconditions as Benjamin Netanyahu has demanded. Dismantling Hamas and the unconditional release of hostages. Without that, the killing continues. This is Israel's pretext for genocide, plain and simple, adopted by the European Parliament. For 3 months now, we have cheered on and provided cover for Israel as it has exterminated tens of thousands of children. And today the vote has voted to reject a call to halt the arms trade, a trade with the illegal settlements. It's rejected the call to suspend the EU-Israel Association Agreement, to use it as leverage to end the violations, reject supporting South Africa's case, while sanctioning Iran and Qatar, but not Israel. This is utter lunacy and absolute disgrace.
Next speaker, Mr. Wallace, please.
Thanks, President. I voted against this resolution on Gaza. It calls for a ceasefire, but the Parliament has voted to make it conditional on the dismantling of Hamas, the same pretext Netanyahu has for his genocide. In spirit, the resolution stands with Israel. It's a document whitewashing and justifying murder and oppression. The racism of the EU runs deep, but it's bared for all to see here. The resolution minimises the genocidal actions and overt genocidal intent of the Israeli regime and demonises those resisting at every turn. Even those alleged to be aiding the Palestinian resistance are to be sanctioned. Yet the endless ships and planes loaded and loads of military equipment being funnelled into the genocide by the United States, the UK and Germany don't get a mention. Netanyahu, the butcher of Gaza, said on Saturday that no one can stop the assault on Gaza, not The Hague or anyone else. Almost 30,000 dead, 10,000 of them children, 1.9 million displaced, 1.8 million food insecure. Starving children are dying from hypothermia. Newborn babies with malnourished mothers are only surviving a few days. And the EU is okay with this? What has become of us?
Mr. Sinčić, please.
Thank you. The resolution is not a good one, and it will not help the Palestinians. It is not just, and it is not realistic. Palestine or Gaza cannot be blamed for everything and Israel for nothing. This just shows that our policy is hypocritical. And everything is now escalating in Lebanon, Red Sea, Syria, Iran, Pakistan. Recently, the Iraqi parliament asked the USA army to leave. A few days ago, the Iraqi prime minister asked them again. They don't want to leave. In eastern Syria, the US Army has its bases, buys the oil, and probably sends it to Israel. So how does USA react to this injustice? Well, they send more than 1,000 soldiers to Syria and Iraq. That's a news that was published 3 days ago. So as long we will have these unjust relations from the West, we can only expect further escalation. We have to put our feet on the ground, we have to be realistic, and we have to support the two-state solutions.
Can I ask for the micro, please?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Doamnă președinte,
Madam President, dear colleagues, this Parliament needs to condemn in no uncertain terms the terrorist attacks by Hamas against Israeli citizens and against peace in this region. Terrorism cannot be justified. It cannot justify it wherever it may take place. And we need to make a distinction between the Palestinian people, the need to protect and respect the Palestinian people, and the terrorist organization Hamas and its terrorist actions. Against this tough background, international humanitarian law needs to be our beacon. Both parties need to do whatever is necessary to put an end to civilian bloodshed. The EU has to keep promoting diplomatic and political dialogue and be a force that promotes the de-escalation of the conflict together with our international partners. We need to do everything we can in order to bring peace to this region without compromise. Thank you very much.
Speaker, Mr. Flanagan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. What does it take to wake you up? What does it take to get you to listen? You didn't listen in October. Your watery words, along with the thumbs up from von der Leyen, were then taken as permission to commit genocide. Since then, over 24,000 Palestinians have been killed, hundreds and hundreds of thousands displaced, all in danger of famine. So you'd think you'd have learned. But no, you've learned nothing. No calls for an unconditional ceasefire, giving the IDF the thumbs up for another killing spree. But it gets worse. We now have a European Parliament resolution where the majority of its members refuse to support rulings from the International Court of Justice. Shame on ye. There's already blood on your hands. When you're watching the carnage on your TV screens over the next month, remember that you refused to shout stop. Remember that.
Can I remind you, colleague, that wearing the banners or flags is not allowed in the chamber? Okay.
No problem.
We move